Hey friends, I'm Aaron Ciotti. Everybody calls me Ciotti. Welcome to Sunday. We're going to do some things today. That was some Mavic 2 Pro. Is that what it is? Mavic 2 Pro? I think that's what it is. From a wedding. Maggie's niece. Is that the word? Niece? It's the right word, niece. It's a sister's daughter, right? It's your if it's your sister's daughter, it's your niece. Yeah, wedding. I forget where we were. It was about 2 hours away from here, and I was really hoping that the trees would be on fire. This is like peak weekend for orange and yellow trees. But the weather was great, which was awesome. But yeah, all the trees were still green. So the footage was... That's raw or D-Log or whatever DJI calls it footage. So that'll look a lot better once in Premiere with contrast pushed in and whites and darks adjusted. But yeah. little bit more, you know, just more practice flying the Mavic. I'm just trying to bring it with me as often as possible, and just put it up in the air and figure out how to make interesting video out of, you know, the photography drones, much like still cameras. If you bring them to a really good location, you kind of can't go wrong. You just point it at the interesting stuff and it looks awesome. The trick is to be able to bring it and point it at not super interesting subjects, and still make the footage look great. That's kind of the cheat code of FPV, right? Because we can flip and flop all over the damn place. We can point them at a goddamn parking lot outside of a tech company and make video that looks cool, right? Sort of. But yeah, so that's we get very spoiled being able to just wiggle them sticks and make all hell break loose on the camera. It takes it's a different skill set to take something that can only go 30 miles an hour. It's always got horizon lock on, basically, right, with the gimbal. It's a for me at least, it's a really fun challenge to try to figure out how to take that platform and make video that's kind of interesting to watch. And yeah, it's a learning curve. There are plenty of people that have gotten good at it, though. There are some fantastic drone pilots that only fly photography drones. Yeah, I would like to close the gap on those fellows and get a little bit better at it. Plus, you know, it's cool to have something that's a little bit less stressful and you can put up in the air for 20 minutes on one battery. So yeah, I've been having a good time with it. It's way more challenging than I thought. It really is, which is cool. I love doing that. Hey, today we're gonna continue testing the newbie drone Cockroach V3 and the BetaFPV Air, Meteor 65 Air, I should say. I broke the lens. I broke the lens off of the Runcam Nano 3 on Friday's stream, trying to adjust it. I have to order a new one, but I realized that I do have an extra Runcam Nano 3. It's in this rig that has the crazy Tiny Whoop 0603 30,000 kV prototype motors on it. So I'm going to steal this camera and canopy off here, put it onto here. This guy is still on the old school Meteor 65 frame. So yeah, and I've already kind of tested these 0603 30,000s, and I absolutely love them, and I pray that Jesse makes a run of them. So yeah, this rig has just been sitting on the shelf for a while, so we might as well rip it apart and steal parts off of it. We're gonna do a mailbag. McMucus sent me a little package, and then I did Weebleed also sent me a package. I have a Pyro drone order coming. That is not this. I think the Pyro drone order will be here Monday. I need to do an order. Where have you guys seen the Runcam Nano 3 in stock anywhere interesting? It's in stock in a couple of places. It's in stock at Pyro Drone, but I just did a Pyro Drone order, of course. It's also in stock at RDQ, so I'm kind of thinking about doing an RDQ order. I want to snag another one of these BetaFPV 1S crossboards, just because it's working. You know, this is the board that most of the racers run, so it's obviously somewhat durable. I'm tempted to pick up one of the Happy Model crossboards. So this is going to be an AIO for another Walksnail light build, either a 65mm Fractal build to get the ducts out of view, or a 75mm Fractal build for outside-ish stuff. the 65 millimeter Fractal build will be for chasing the RC drift cars, which is a lot more fun than flying a 75 millimeter tiny whoop outside. I don't really want to hammer the Walksnail builds. Well, it's going to be a 75 millimeter Fractal framed 1S Walksnail build. What am I going to really do with that? I have a couple of ideas. It could be a fun gorilla whooping kind of rig. Bring it to like the mall and rip it around the mall. Should be quiet enough. Flying it outside though, 75 millimeter 1S outside, it's okay. It's okay. But yeah, I think I would rather do the 65 millimeter build because chasing the little drift cars is just the coolest thing in the world. And I want to see what it's like with the heavier, less thrusty frame versus the regular-ish build that I've got right now. There's a chance that the combination of the smaller 65 millimeter props, the frame that causes more thrust you lose some thrust because of the bracing, the extra weight of the frame, there's a chance that those things together will make the rig a lot harder to fly, and it won't be as good to fly as the more normal Walksnail build. I do need to find a set of motors for it though, now that I think about it. I have plenty of motors for the 75 millimeter build. For the 65 millimeter build though, I need another set of 0702 32,000s because it's going to need all the thrust that it can possibly get. So yeah, I don't know what to do about that. McMucus just reminded me. Newbie Drone also has the Runcam Nano 3, but they do not have either the Happy Model or the BetaFPV cross type AIO because they have their own AIOs, their own Tiny Whoop AIOs. So makes sense. But yeah, so I'm tempted to get the Happy Model cross AIO to kind of test it, but I don't want to test, like, this is going to be like a $200 Tiny Whoop because of the Walksnail on board. I don't want to test that with, I don't want to lose it, right? And the BetaFPV AIO has been out for a while. The Happy Model has not. Yeah. On one hand, it's kind of like, oh, I think BetaFPV would have better quality control than Happy Model, but I don't know about that, man. I really don't know about that. Does anybody in the chat have experience with the Happy Model Cross AIO, or have any friends with experience with it, or know if anybody in the racing community has been using it? I'm looking for thumbs ups, any feedback. Any feedback on that AIO would be cool. So yeah, let me know. If anybody has any actual feedback on it, please type at CiottiFPV into the chat and tell me what the experience has been, and we'll talk about it. In the chat, CH3FPV was first, FPV Super Trucker was next, Troy Prelog, Freelojo, Apache Smoke Wooded Sniper, Brashy, Douglas Otwell, FPV Flyer, Riot 9, Frank Nicholas, Denzel, The Terrible Rock Crawler, Matt Trombley's FD, Mick Bucas, Brandon Woodford, Safe Zone FPV, Northern Tier, Anonymous, Robert Rosser, FP Avery, Cole Powers, Big Fran, McConnell Studios is in the house, Denzel the Terrible, Robert Rosser, Ant BV THC, Scott FPV 661, Riot 9. I think that's everybody. What's up, friends? Riot 9 says it is so smooth. What is so smooth? What's so smooth? If you want to talk directly to me in the chat, all you got to do is type CiottiFPV. If you do that, it'll light up an orange like this and like this. And I'll know that you're talking to me. You can also do a super chat, which will also support me trying to be a full-time FPV donkey, which is very difficult. I am completely crowdfunded. There's no companies sending me loads of stuff expecting good reviews. There are some companies that are crazy enough to send me stuff, and I've, before they sent me anything, I explained to them, like, hey, I am completely crowdfunded. All of the reviews that I do, all of the stuff that I talk about is completely off the cuff. I will never, ever, ever take a product that sucks and not say that it sucks. And that turns most companies off. But a couple of companies are crazy enough and or confident enough in their gear that they still do send me stuff. Or they just appreciate the feedback, right? So, yeah, that's pretty cool. But anybody that sends me anything knows damn well that if it's even a little... If there's any issues with it, I'm going to call them all out. I'm not going to hide anything. That is the beauty of you guys paying the bills around here rather than me relying on companies to... like if you're relying on companies to send you stuff for review, there's a chance that will cloud the review. Maybe it won't. Maybe you're, maybe like so reviewers that have full-time jobs that pay really well that are just doing this for fun, Nick Burns, for example, they don't have to worry about that, right? Like they can trash on stuff all day long. Like, yes, they have companies, maybe companies will stop sending them stuff, but they don't care. They're not relying on that, right? Those of us that have chosen to kind of try to do this full time, it's a little bit different in that case. So you got to be careful. There are certainly people in this community that have standards high enough to not fall into that trap, but that trap is always there waiting for you. You know what I mean? So you got to be really altruistic, maybe is the word, to kind of stay on top of that. So yeah, it's one of the cool things about you guys stepping up and keeping this show on the road. Over at CiottiFPV.com, there's a whole bunch of different ways you can support me. Buy yourself something nice. Book some time with me to be a better pilot, be a better tuner, be a better builder, buy the right parts that don't catch on fire, that kind of stuff. And then there's a whole bunch of affiliate links. When you're doing orders on the internet, someone has an affiliate link to that website. See if you can find it real quick. Click it before you check out, and that person will get money for free, and then they'll use it to keep making content for you to watch for free on YouTube. It's a big circle of doom. Not of doom. Of happiness and joy. So yeah, it looks like I'm gonna do an RDQ order, unless you guys come back and say, like, yes, that Happy Model Cross AIO has been tested by these people that crash stuff hard and it's proven to be good. Then I might switch my order, because I remember when I was looking, there is another website that has the BetaFPV, the RunCam Nano 3 and the Happy Model Cross AIO. They do not have the BetaFPV Cross AIO. But yeah, I feel like I would rather get the BetaFPV Cross AIO, I think, maybe. As much as I want to, like, test one of everything, one as a sample size is not really big enough. So the want to test one of everything is being squashed by the want to not lose a tiny whoop, because I was testing one of everything. A tiny whoop that has Walksnail on it, right? So yeah, there's that. I also just realized I need to get another Walksnail light, and RDQ does not have them. Really? Really? Will there ever be a time that one FPV website has everything that I need? Will that ever happen? Ever, 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 ever? Okay. All right. Well, you know, I don't know. I don't know. You know, apparently, but I don't know. Is there a bind and fly that has the Walksnail light on it that is not gonna cost a fortune, that maybe has other parts that I'm interested in? Meteor 75 watts. No, that's analog. BetaFPV bind and fly Meteor 75 Pro. It's fucking $230 though. But I mean, so it would come with this 75 Pro frame, which I've stayed away from. What are these motors that it would come with? Are these worthless motors? They're probably worthless motors. Tell me what the motors are. Tell me what the motors are. BMI 270 gyro, that's good. The Cross AIO, that's great. I need one of those. Be okay to get a canopy. It's set up for 550 mAh batteries. Good lord. What are the motors, man? Why are these 1102? Oh, okay. 1102 22,000. 22,000 is like just not quite enough. It's so close to being enough. And then 1102 is a little too big. The 1002 seems to really be as big as you need. 1102 motors. I mean, I guess I could maybe use these motors on like a 2.5-inch toothpick-ish rig, but I don't really want to build one of those. So $230. The Walksnail setup is what, 130, so that leaves $100 extra. So I'd be paying $100 for the Cross AIO, a canopy, a frame. No, it doesn't make sense. And a set of motors I'm probably never going to use. A set of motors that I don't really want, that I could like flip into like kind of using, but you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Do you know what I'm saying? There's also this flywoo thing, but like, I'm just no. I've done this. It's I don't like it. Oh. No, it doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. All right. Well, that's a kick in the tits. Yeah, all right. I'm gonna have to find. It's fine. It's fine. It's gonna be fine. Rockcrawler says, Heidi ho, CiottiFPV and Gangly Gang. Safe Zone says, CiottiFPV was good from South Miami. ScottFPV says, what's up, guys? Got my rip squeak in the air last night. Filmed like 6 packs on it today. Very cool. Right9 says, shirt of the day. May have missed it. No autoplay. This is an OG Rotor Riot Rampage shirt. This is from the very first Rotor Riot Rampage. It was cool, man. All of us volunteers had these orange shirts, and it was super easy to find all of us. The Rampages since, there have been like different colored shirts, like one for volunteers, one for like staff or whatever, one for like flight line managers maybe, and it just, you know, it like, I guess you can kind of tell, but it was, I don't know, this is the first Rampage, so it was like absolutely insane. So there's some nostalgia tied up in that, of course. But yeah. Cole Power says, saw FPV vegan Gorilla Whoop with a Walksnail rig, and it was beautiful. Very cool. Yeah, it's just, I need to go to Gorilla Whoop places and rail the Walksnail rigs around. It's just too good. McMucus says, newbie drone has the Runcam Nano last time I checked. Package is some goodie. Package is some goodies from Peru. Hope you enjoy. I will indeed, brother. Thank you so much. It is right over here. We're going to do mailbag in a minute as soon as I get caught up. Riot9 says, it is so smooth. Whatever project I'm shilling, it's so smooth. Oh, yeah. Brad Mondin says, I have two, actually he says, I am two stock Mobula 6s, 19,000 kV. Now they both hover at 57 to 58% throttle. Is that normal? Nope. It seems to be making much harder for throttle control. Yeah, definitely not normal. Tiny Whoop should be hovering anywhere from like 20 to 30% throttle. So with all troubleshooting, you need to go back in time and try to figure out when it started. The real trick is that when something starts acting funny, stop. Don't fly it. Like you're probably already flying it when it acts funny, but just bring it back, stop, and just think. And just think backwards as to like, when the hell did this start? If it just started right when you were flying it, this is the point. You can just go, oh, what did I just do? Did I unplug the battery in a weird way? Did I smash it into something? Did I have it in Betaflight a minute ago and I was monkeying around with stuff? That is the most important part of troubleshooting, and these things are very difficult to troubleshoot, so you really need to like lean into that. So yeah, that has to be the question that I ask, is like, when did it start? That is going to point you in the direction of what the hell happened. If you slammed it into a brick wall at full tilt, you've got a physical component that has taken abuse and is now broken, right? And you need to try to find that physical component. You don't need to go into Betaflight and start screwing around with filters and PIDs and whatnot. That's not the solution. The solution is to fix what has been hurt, not try to fix something else unrelated, right? If it's a physical mechanical problem, fix the mechanical problem. Don't go into the software and start ruining the performance. A really common thing to do is to blast an FPV rig into something really hard and to bend a prop, a motor shaft, delaminate an arm, screws are rattling and falling out. And then instead of looking and fixing the mechanical problem, people go into Betaflight and they start pulling the PID sliders down, they start adding filtering, and they cripple the performance of the rig just to be able to get it back up in the air. Well, then at some point, you're going to slam it into something again and make it worse to the point where it's not flyable. Now you have to fix the mechanical system. And once you fix the mechanical system, you will not remember to turn your PIDs back up or push your filters back down. And you will have a rig that never flies properly again, right? Like, you've now crippled the performance of the rig, even though you've fixed the mechanical system. So why not fix the mechanical system first and have a rig that flies good? Usually you've just bent a prop. In this scenario that I'm talking about, we're talking about replacing a prop or replacing a motor. That's like $10 max, $15 max on a micro. So just do that. But it really is about just when you're flying your rig and it starts and you notice that it's not acting like it once did, you got to just think, you got to just stop flying it and just what happened, and that'll tell you what you need to fix. If you do that little exercise and you come up dry and you're like, I've been flying batteries, I unplugged the battery where it worked fine, I plugged another battery in, it was working jacked up, now it becomes a lot harder. Although if you weren't in Betaflight screwing around with things, that's a mechanical problem there. Like, you didn't do anything to cause it, but that doesn't mean that the electronics can't just shit the bed, as they do a lot on us. So yeah, that's that. Even though that's a less satisfying thing, right? Like, it's nice to, like, oh look, this motor shaft is bent, I figured it out. Sometimes the troubleshoot with FPV is start replacing stuff, and it's the fucking worst. But welcome to the game, unfortunately. So yeah, sometimes when that happens, when you unplug one battery and plug another battery in, and it just doesn't work right anymore. Sometimes the solution is just to buy a whole new AIO and swap a whole new AIO in. If that doesn't fix the problem, well, then you've got two working AIOs, so you've got a backup, or you can build a second rig. So it's not the end of the world. Like, anything that we buy is going to get used, because we're going to break everything, right? So it's not a terrible troubleshooting path to just start buying replacement stuff. Just pick the thing on the quad that that kind of makes the most sense that would be the problem, and just buy another one and just slap it on and see if that helps. If it doesn't help, you've got a spare. If it does help, you're a fucking genius. So yeah, there's that. I really try hard to find exactly what's wrong, though, and just buy this. Although, I mean, I try to have a set of spares for all my stuff. I don't for everything, but yeah, I try to at least have either a full set of spares or a backup, a second rig with the same parts that I can steal parts off of, or just put up in the air. I really like to have two identical rigs of everything, so that I don't even have to take something apart to steal parts off of it. I can just take the one that broke, put it aside, grab the second working one, and just put it right up in the air. So yeah, different ways to do it. Good question, Brad. But yeah, hover at 50. Wait a second, you've got two Mobula 6s doing that. Oh, that's super weird. I mean, all of those same steps kind of apply. Are you still in here, Brad? All of those same troubleshooting steps still do apply. Boy, is it weird that you've got two of them that are doing it. So yeah, very strange. Go through that whole exercise, though. Go through that whole exercise and see if there was a moment that you plugged them both into Betaflight and screwed around with a bunch of stuff or something like that, right? But yeah, the first question that I always ask with troubleshooting stuff is, like, has it always been like this, or did this start at some point? And that, that's what I'm kind of getting at there. Kevin Sumner says, I'm running Happy Model CrossF4 and a Fractal 75 with HDZero. Other than one near DOA, 10 seconds first flight, then did ESC. They've been fine. That was my experience with the Neutron 1S AIO, which I have mailed back to Newbie Drone for replacement or repair. So that scares me a little bit. The DOA thing, oh man, it's just so annoying. Like, it's not the end of the world. Most resellers are gonna stand behind their stuff and hook you up, but it still kind of sucks. Obviously it sucks. Mick Bucas says, if one shop had it all, the post office would go out of business. Cole Power says, is 1102 better for carrying Walksnail VTX? I have not found the 1102 to be necessary even for carrying the Insta360 Go 2, which is 26 grams. The Walksnail setup is 6 grams. So an 1102 to carry an extra 6 grams is kind of silly. If it's not taking advantage of that motor stator size with crazy KV, which it's not. It's only 22,000 KV. I've got the they're actually right here. I've got the Flywoo 1002 23,500 kV motors, and these don't even have enough kV at 23,500, and they're 1002s. So yeah, the 1102 thing, I would be down if it was like 28,000 kV or even like 30,000 kV. That would be awesome. But they're not, and you can't boost the kV other than going up to 2S, but that's not the solution. So yeah, those BetaFPV, in my opinion, those BetaFPV 1102 22,000s just don't make any sense. I ran the BetaFPV 18,000 kV 1102s on the tiny lifters on 2S, and they were fine. But then when I went to 1002s, the rig got lighter, and the performance didn't change at all. So the 1102s were definitely a bottleneck. And they were BetaFPV 1102s. They were very fragile. They did have 1.5mm motor shafts, but they must have used a really cheap metal for those motor shafts because they would bend so easily. So yeah, I'm not super happy with the BetaFPV 1102 motors from a KV standpoint. They don't have enough for 1S, or from a durability standpoint, at which point it's kind of like they're dead to me in a way, you know what I mean? It's a little dramatic, but I think you know what I'm saying. I've got some charged batteries now for us to abuse some tiny whoops. Let me put another 6 on the Vifly here, the Whoopster, and we are going to do mailbag real quick because I'm almost caught up on chat, and then we are going to continue with the durability testing. Okay, those are good. These are charged. Brad Mondin says, straight out of the box, flashed Bluejay, flashed Betaflight 4.4, flashed and browned Express LRS, and flew it almost 60% both times. Accidentally flew the first one into oblivion. Okay, so... All right, so if they're both doing it right out of the box, it's probably not it's probably not a mechanical problem. It's probably not a tuning issue. You said you flashed. Okay, so make sure that you're on the version 1.6, version 0.6 of Bluejay. So if you go to any channel here on YouTube, you can search just in that channel. There's a little magnifying glass right here. Click this magnifying glass on my channel and search for Bluejay. And you're going to find this one right here. Bluejay 0.19, 0.18, 0.17 has problems. Revert back to 0.16 to fix. This is it. Watch this live stream. There are time codes to make it easier so you don't have to watch the whole live stream. This is going to tell you how to get back to Bluejay 0.16. This is probably not the problem, but you want to do this anyway. So do that at some point. Flashed Betaflight 4.4, that's fine. Flashed and bound ELRS, that's fine. It ELRS either works or doesn't. The problem is more than likely the KV of those motors. 19,000 KV is very, very, very low. And somebody mentioned batteries. It's a great call. If you're flying it on the batteries that thing came with, which are probably like Happy Model 300s with a little lead coming off of them, that's a big part of the problem as well. Those batteries are just junk. If you go to Joshua's website, fpvknowitall.com, drop down the Ultimate FPV shopping list and go to the Tiny Whoop section. I've got I've done pretty much this entire page. So lots and lots and lots of really good information on here that I've taken hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of my life to write. And then there is a freestyle Tiny Whoop build, and there's also a racing Tiny Whoop build. So depending on which direction you want to go, flying for fun, freestyle, or hardcore racing, again, lots of good information. This is all explaining why I've chosen all the pieces that I've chosen, and parts I've chosen. And there's even some like tuning tips in here. Yeah, this is it. This is how you build what I fly, basically. And the performance of this rig, and it's based on the Mobula 6. Like, I literally recommend that you do what you've done and buy a Mobula 6 as your starting point. It comes with the best AIO, camera, canopy, a frame that'll work. The motors are kind of worthless, but hopefully you got it with 0702 motors, because the bells on those motors are totally fine. The stator, the bottom part of those motors suck. And they are wound with way too low of a KV. But you can remove the bell when you have a higher KV, 0702, and use it if you wreck your bell. So if you get a set of the Tiny Whoop 0702 30,000s or 32,000s, or the Weebleed 0702 32,500s, they use the not the exact same bell, but it should be a compatible bell. And yeah, God forbid you ever bend a motor shaft on the higher KV motor, you can pull the bell off and swap it on with the 19,000 KV bell that you've got. So those motors aren't totally worthless, just partially worthless. So that is probably what's going on. Bind and fly Tiny Whoops do not perform all that well. Luckily, the upgrade path is pretty straightforward and pretty simple to turn them into absolute fire-breathing rocket ships. So yeah, that's what I think's going on for you there. Brad Mountain with a 199 super chat. Thank you, brother. He says thank you. I say thank you. Jules FPV says, got the airframe on with 0802 25,000 kV biblades. Could it cause big voltage sags? Absolutely, Jules. One of my least favorite things about the Meteor 65 airframe that I've been talking a lot about lately is that it's extremely wobbly. It's made of a very gummy plastic, and you have to turn your PIDs down and your or you're filtering up in order for this frame to work properly without massive voltage sags. The voltage sags are coming from this thing being so gummy that it's allowing a bunch of the vibrations to get into the gyro, and then the PID loop is never calming down. When the PID loop calms down, it just sends thrust for the most part to the motors. So the motors are just driving in the thrust direction. They're just pushing air. When you've got too many vibrations, the gyro is jiggling back and forth, and it's like, ah, and the PID loop's going, ah, and what the PID loop will do when it's vibrating too much, is it will speed up the motor, but then it'll try to break the motors down. It'll try to break the motors. So it'll speed them up, because what it's doing, it's as it's vibrating, when it vibrates in one direction, it's going to fire these motors up and it's going to break these motors down to try to get it to stop vibrating. But then it's going to vibrate the other direction and it's going to do the same thing. And now, if the vibration is being caused by prop wash, that's good. That's exactly what you want it to do in prop wash, to fight against that dirty air that's causing that oscillation. If the vibrations are coming from the frame being too wobbly and you've got a propeller that's slightly out of balance or a motor shaft that's a little bit bent, well, then all the time, the like 24/7, the damn thing is speeding up the motors and slowing down the motors, and it's just wasting all that electricity, right? So my guess is going to be that, I mean, one of two things is happening. Either you've had those motors for a while and you've banged them up and the motor shafts are a little bit out, and that's causing the motor to wobble like this, and that's where your vibrations are coming from. Or it's with this really small stuff, it's very hard to get them perfectly balanced. There's always going to be vibrations. So the problem could literally, even if those motors are brand new, the problem could literally be that just those motors or your props are just naturally a little bit out of balance, and the PID tune that you've got is just too aggressive for the Meteor 65 airframe's ability to isolate those vibrations, right? Like, best case scenario is that you've got a carbon fiber frame that's nice and beefy that you can take and like do this as hard as you can with, and it doesn't care. Because if the frame is nice and beefy and the motor is wobbling a little bit, it'll just wobble, and it'll the arm will hold it solidly enough where that wobble is isolated from the gyro. It's never going to be fully isolated, but what's not going to happen is that it's not going to create its own set of vibrations. If you've got a vibrating motor on this wobbly frame, it's going to cause the frame to wobble. And then that bending of the frame is going to be a separate frequency of vibration. It's going to be a separate oscillation that the gyro is going to try to tune out. The PID loop is going to try to squash down. And so, yeah, I'm trying not to go completely off the deep end into the rabbit hole of tuning and all of this stuff and keep it as simple as possible. But like right now, I'm at the point where we will go off the cliff and I can lose a bunch of people. So I'm going to leave it there. Yeah, if you had not the Meteor 65 airframe on it, if you had any other frame and it was flying fine, and then you put the Meteor 65 airframe on it and it's not flying fine, this is the problem. You have a choice. You can either go back to the other frame, or you can turn your PIDs down and turn your filters up to band-aid the fact that this frame is very flexible and doesn't seem to handle vibes all that well. I am torn on this frame and I'm still figuring it out. I'm still figuring out what I want to do. I think that the regular Meteor 65 airframe is the one that I want. Is my favorite because it's unbelievably durable. It handles the vibrations totally fine, and I can get a rockin' PID tune that just never prop washes with it. And that's it, really, I guess. I'm most impressed so far by this Cockroach V3 frame. I think I like this better than the Meteor 65 airframe. I just touched one of these motor leads and it broke off. Why did I touch the motor lead? What is wrong with me? On today's live stream, we're going to first be repairing this tiny whoop that we need to durability test the frame of. All the tiny whoops are broken right now. The camera on this one's broken. That motor wire just popped off. So yeah, there's the full kind of situation, Jules. That's interesting. Jules also says, by the way, on 250 mAh batteries, I have longer flight time than the BetaFPV 300 mAh. That could be either that the BetaFPV 300 mAh battery sucks, or it could be that the BetaFPV 300 mAh battery is heavier, and so because the rig is heavier, you have to use more throttle to compensate. When you use more throttle to compensate, it's going to make the motors spin faster, and potentially you're spinning the motors faster into an RPM that they vibrate worse, and then that's what's creating the PID loop to freak out and not just drive the motors, but drive, brake, drive, brake, drive, brake, drive, brake the motors, which is what's eating up the extra power. And then when you put the 250 mAh battery on it, it's lighter, so you can spin the motors lower, and they can just happen to be sitting at a hover RPM that is not a frequency of vibration that causes this frame to go bananas. Yeah, that's an example of why I don't like mechanical systems, frames, motors, propellers, whatever, builds that are like right on the edge. I always like for there to be a nice safety margin in the tune with the build, so that it's not like, oh, I changed one thing and now the goddamn thing is catching on fire in the air, or just doesn't fly at all, or it oscillates to the moon, goes to never to come back land. So yeah. Jules says, I understand now, but the airframe is kind of shitty. I wouldn't say that. I should go back to the Meteor, but I flies nice. But it flies nice. Yeah, you know, it's we've been talking a lot about that. We've got a bunch. It's great that we've got a bunch of new frames that are lighter weight, but it's important to not forget how good the regular old school Meteor 65 frame was, right? Like, it's always tempting to try the new shiny things that perform better in one way, but like the glide frame is the perfect example of that. The FPV Cycle glide frame is like this magical 5-inch frame that does a lot of things really, really, really well. It doesn't do one thing super, super, super well, but it does a lot of things really well. There is like the AOS 5 frame that handles vibrations better, but it does a bunch of other things worse. There's the Apex frame, which has stronger arms, so the arms are going to break less frequently, but it does a lot of other things worse. It's harder to work on. With the arms being so strong, the motors are going to become the weak point. So instead of replacing broken arms, you're going to replace broken motors, which are more expensive and more annoying to fix, right? So it's like, it's always important to not get all hung up on the one little shiny thing, and to look at like, have like a more holistic approach to your builds, and have something that is flyable, right? Like, it's really tough to have a build that is like on the razor's edge, because that tends to be the build that you don't really want to fly, because it's such a goddamn prima donna that every time you fly it, it's either on fire by the time you're done flying it, or yeah, like it's a I'm in a higher altitude and the thing won't fly. Great, what am I gonna do now? So yeah. Jules FPV with a 3-pound super chat. Thank you, brother. Thank you for the support. But yeah, it's great that we have some new options. Tiny Whoop frames are incredibly inexpensive, so like, why not try a bunch of these? Maybe there's one of them that is perfect. Maybe your exact set of motors and propellers and the way that you fly and your hover point and whatever is absolutely perfect for the Meteor 65 airframe. I can't answer that for you. I can help you guys with, you know, I can show you guys the testing and land on a setup that's perfect for me, but that's not necessarily perfect for you. This is why long form content is the jam, because it gives us the time to show you the testing so that you can figure out for yourself what the right option is. It also shows you how to do the testing, because you probably can't just watch me and then go, oh, even though he didn't like the airframe, it's definitely the right one for me. You probably just want to buy all the different frames. It'll cost you like $20 to get one of every single frame that exists, and do your own testing, but do the testing similar to what I'm kind of showing you, right? Like, it is my fucking honor to show you the different ways to test. I've figured out all these different things to think about and look for and feel for during the testing. That's been one of the hardest parts. So yeah, it's awesome that I can show that to all of you so that you can do your own testing in a way that makes sense, not just put a new frame on, fly it, go, oh, I spent this money, that's clouding my opinions, this frame is the best because I just spent a bunch of money on it. And then 6 months later, you go back to the old school Meteor frame and you're like, wow, this is better. I've wasted the last 6 months, right? So yeah, that's kind of the full picture. Simon says, tried rewatching one of your videos earlier. YouTube wouldn't stream it. Trying to watch this live stream. YouTube won't load it. It's only your channel having issues. There's not really anything I can do about that, unfortunately, Simon. That sucks. But I just clicked the start stream button. I have there's nothing that I can do. There's just nothing I can do. That's super annoying. Yeah, I just refresh the page, I guess. I don't know if it's only my page. I don't know. Maybe YouTube just doesn't like that I curse a lot. But yeah, I don't have any settings that can do anything about that, unfortunately. Sorry, brother. Chick with a Stick loves my hair, as always. Chick with a Stick also says, 3 new Meteor 75 frames in today. You're right. The prop set below the ducts. I'm bummed out. Meteor 75. I didn't realize it does it on the Meteor 75 too. That sucks. It's not the end of the world, but it's not great. I wish that BetaFPV would pay more attention. Simon says, I want to ask the best analog 65 millimeters for flying around the house for an intermediate, but you're probably sick of that. So just the JB shopping list is still up to date. Absolutely. Ultimate freestyle build on FPV Know-It-All. And then for an intermediate, you're going to want to motor limit down a little bit. You will not want to have those at 100%. 32,000 kV is a ton, as is 30,000. So in Betaflight, in the PIDs tab, there's a motor limiting option, which is by default is set to 100. Pull that down to like 80. Give yourself like 80% of that 30,000 kV or 32,000 kV, whichever motors you buy. And that's going to be a lot easier for you. It's hard to fly in the house. Really, really, really hard. So pull the power down a little bit, fly it a whole bunch. Eventually, you're going to feel comfortable enough to start creeping that power level up, 85%, 90%, eventually 100%. You can make those changes in your OSD, actually. You can just land the quad, do the stick command to get into your OSD and fire and change that up and down. Simon says, not your fault. I was angry. I thought they were big dicks to you. Yeah, maybe. Or maybe it's just today. I don't know. YouTube is pretty flaky, so maybe tomorrow it's better. Ram Douglas says, bloody quads. Indeed, it's 4 o'clock. Let's do some work! Now that I've created a bunch of extra work for myself, let's get to work. I cannot... One of the motor wires here was like at a 90-degree angle. To like, coming off the pad like this, it was like that, and I was like, oh, let me just fix that, and I just went to make it not a 90-degree angle, and it just broke right off. One of the things that you want to remember, so this is actually, fuck it, I'm glad that this happened. Tiny whoop motor wires are super fragile. The right answer, the proper solution is to put a little tiny piece of shrink wrap on the motors to prevent what just happened from happening. But at one point, I got a little lazy about doing that, and I didn't do it. And, yep, this motor's completely fine where I did it, and this motor, the wire broke off. What you're going to do is... how can I show you? Will you be able to see that PCB? So the motor wires are soldered to a little PCB on these things. You're doing a great job, Logitech. I really appreciate the hard work that you're doing here. You're just such a great camera company. I'm going to light your faces on fire. See that little PDB? All these little tiny motors, not all, most of these tiny little motors. Okay, this is fucking pointless. There's the motor base, and then there's a little PDB that sticks off of it like that. So this is the motor, this is the stator base, and then there's a little PDB that sticks off of it, and the PDB has 1, 2, 3 pads on it. And those 3 pads are where you solder your wires. What you want to do with the shrink wrap is you want to get the shrink wrap to go up over this little, see how the PDB, I'm showing you with my hand, the PDB is exposed. This is the stator base with the screw mounts, but then the PDB sticks out a little bit. You want to get the shrink wrap around the part of the PDB, and then you want it to be around the 3 motors a little bit too. And this way, because what happens is when you go to take your propellers off, you'll instinctively like want to pinch the bottom of the motor, and what can happen is you can accidentally pinch the motor in here on top of the motor wires, and that's what causes the motor wires to bend 90 degrees and break. If you've got that piece of shrimp wrap, it's actually called shrimp wrap because it's made from the exoskeletons of the finest Asian shrimp. You want that shrimp wrap to having it go around the PDB gives it strength so that when you eventually do go in there and grab the bottom of that motor, it won't just pop off. If you just had the shrimp wrap around the wires, the same problem would happen, right? So it has to go around the PDB to give it that strength, and then you need it to go around the wires to prevent the wires from bending in the wrong spot. The wires can bend at the silicone, but you don't want the wires to bend at the joint where you've stripped the silicone away and you just have the little 8 strand. On a 30 gauge wire, there are only 8 strands usually of individual wire inside the silicone. So if where that silicone is not, it starts to bend, it's going to very quickly break 1, break 2, break 3, break 4. I'm not totally bummed out that this happened because I touched the wire so gently and it broke. That tells me that there were only a couple of those strands that were hanging on. And that could explain why, when I was flying this on Friday, it felt like it had less power than this rig before I broke it. It probably did not have enough strands of wire going to this one motor, and so the PID loop was pulling the rest of the motors back. So yeah, there you go. I'm annoyed, but I'm trying to be less annoyed that this motor let go. So let's fix it, yo. That's where this whole thing is headed, right? But first, let's clean up just the tiniest little bit so that I actually have room to work here. All right, so what we're going to do is fix this motor the right way, and luckily I have a little bit of extra wire length on here, so I should be okay. Sometimes I'll cut these motor leads a little bit short to try to save weight. You don't want to go too short, though, because eventually this right here is going to happen to all of you. So, yeah, cut them a little bit shorter, maybe. Or maybe not. Maybe just leave them full length, because the weight difference is minimal. Last time I did it, it was less than 0.1 of a gram of difference in weight from shortening up the motor leads, which that's not enough to really make it worth it. So, did anybody know that about shrink wrap? Did anybody know that? That it's actually called shrimp wrap, and it's basically like a metric standard issue. Like we refuse to use the metric system. We refuse to respect the true name of shrimp wrap. I bet you somebody didn't know that. I bet you that's new information to someone out there. You can be honest. You can be honest. It's all good. Asiatic shrimp, actually, that live in the with Asiatic clams. Shrimp wrap facts. Dancilla says. Oh Christ. All right, hold on. Safe Zone says me. Have you not? Safe Zone, you've never heard me do that bit before? Well, now you have. Now you have. Someday I'm gonna do that. I can't wait for this. I cannot wait for this day. Someday I'm going to do that, and then somebody's going to leave a YouTube comment. You're so full of shit, like a serious YouTube comment. You're so full of shit, man. I looked it up. It was never shrimp. What kind of an asshole are you? You're so stupid. And that day is going to be a great day. That's going to be a great day. I am very, very, very much looking forward to that day. There's one of my favorite memes on the whole of the internet. It just popped up the other day, and I think I shared it on a story. Is somebody? It's just one of these text memes, and it's like, the person says like, if I ever have a really difficult programming question, what I'll do is I'll post the question on Reddit, and then I'll go to my alt account and I'll post a wildly wrong answer, and that always gets people, the really smart people, out of the woodwork to answer the question with really good info, because my God, people like helping, right? Like, for sure, people like to help, but people like correcting other people more than they like helping. All right, we're going to be very careful about adding too much flux here. These little tiny motors, you got to be careful with that. If you add too much flux, it'll chase up into the stator base, and it will gum up the motor shaft. So just the tiniest little bit of flux that I'm adding here. And I'm going to need to put the nerd goggles on for this just to be able to see what the hell I'm doing, because my eyes are getting old, and this is just really, really, really small work. Even if you have really good eyesight, I still think you should snag a set of the nerd goggles. These are made by Yaktosun, but there's like 18 different sets of these that look identical from different brand names on Amazon, and you're going to love it. You're going to love my goggles, my nerd goggles nuts. I promise you. All right, so that one wire broke off. I'm just going to remove the extra little bits of individual strands of wire that are on that pad. And then I'm going to remove these other two because I need to put the shrimp wrap on here. And I might also need to shorten these other two. If that one got super short, I doubt it. I'll probably be okay just re-stripping and re-tinning the one, but just to be sure. I'm actually going to put fresh solder on all these. I really want to make sure that I get those individual strands of wire. This is solder braid. This is how you remove solder. You do not use a solder sucker. Solder suckers are pretty hard on the pads. It's a really good way to lift a pad. This solder wick is the way. This is what you want. Made by Chemtronics. 80-4-5 is this one. It's kind of small. There's powder flux on the inside of this, so you don't have to add flux. You certainly can add flux, but and all you do is just put heat into it, and then it just absorbs an awful lot of solder. It absorbs more solder than you'd believe. And you can see it. It turns silver. There was not much solder on there, so you can barely see it. But yeah, it just pulls the solder right up into the wick, and then you're good to go. That is the gentlest way to remove solder from a solder joint, which does make a difference. Like, that could easily make the difference between a lifting a pad and not lifting a pad. All right, so let's take a look at this set of wires here to make sure that this isn't going to be too short. I got to be careful. There's a really good chance of me forgetting to put the shrimp wrap on at this point. What I should do is stop right now and get the shrimp wrap out. But let's see if I can remember it. I was pretty good about remembering it the other day that I was putting shrimp wrap on stuff. Yeah, I mean, this one motor wire is going to be a little bit shorter. No, it's going to be a lot shorter. Yeah, I'm going to chop all three of them down a little bit. And I'm going to re-strip and re-tin all three of these guys. If you're wondering how the hell I have white motor leads, these are sold by tinywhoop.com. He sells these in a bunch of different colors: green, yellow, red. You can customize the coloring of your Tiny Whoop even more than ever before by having custom colored wire leads going to the motors. If you've bought everything else available, here's one more thing that you can buy. Because, as we all know, if you ain't going to fly good, you got to at least look good. Words to live by your buddy, CiottiFPV. Dropping shrimp wrap knowledge and troubleshooting answers, and try to use your fingernails to strip the silicone off of wires. It eliminates any possibility of accidentally cutting one of the 8 strands of wire that are inside of these 30 gauge wires, because metal is harder than keratin. Keratin being the material that your fingernails are made out of. So yeah, there we go. Stripped. Let's get them tinned. And I will then forget the shrimp wrap, solder these to the motor, get pissed off, desolder them from the motor, put the shrimp wrap on, and then we'll be done. Ready? Here we go. I'm just going to tin these off the side of the desk here. I know you can't see it, but it's almost done already. And cool. All right, we're good. Really nothing to see there. Just put the tip of the soldering iron below the motor and then push the solder down from the top. And then you'll get a little solder ball on the tip, and you're done. All right, let me now forget the shrimp wrap. Here we go. I'm going to forget it now. Ready? And there you go. I just forgot it. But in an unbelievable twist of fate, I've remembered. Holy shit on a shingle, my friends. I've remembered the shrimp wrap. So you're going to find shrimp wrap that's just the right size to fit over the PDB, or you can find shrimp wrap that's ever so slightly too small, and then you can stretch it out. In my case, this piece is just barely the right size, so I'm just going to use this one. It's fine. But it's actually, I think it's a better idea to use shrimp wrap that's a little bit too small and then to stretch it out. It can kind of get annoying, though. Sometimes like you go to stretch it out and it rips and tears, and so I'm just going to use shrimp wrap that's the correct size for a change. All right, so that is this. We're going to put this onto the wires. So one thing that you want to remember is that when you're soldering these wires onto the pads, the wires are going to get hot. So you want to push this shrimp wrap as far away from the tips of the wires as possible, because you don't want it to get hot and shrink up. So push the shrink wrap down as far away from the wires as possible. And then let me take a look at which way I want the... Okay, so slots up. So I want to solder it on in this direction. Since I removed most of the solder from these pads, I'm going to add a little bit of solder back to the pads real quick here. And I'm going to throw the nerd goggles on to do this. Jules FRB says, down the PIDs bit by bit. Got me about 30 more seconds of flight time. Thanks a lot. You're certainly welcome. I hate fixing problems by taking PID gains out, but it is a way to fix problems, to just get back up in the air. Hell, it's what I had to do with the Meteor 65 airframe. All right, so we're just going to put a little bit of extra solder on each of these little pads here. Oops. All right, there's one. There's two. It's trying to bridge. We got it though. All right. Once there's a blob of solder on the tip of the soldering iron, you can just kind of like use that blob of solder. Just be careful. You don't want it to like drip off of there and go somewhere that you don't want it to be. All right, so we got a little bit of solder on those pads. We got the wires that are pre-tinned. Now we're just gonna tack these wires down to the PDB here. Try to do this so that you guys can see it. You've seen me do this a bunch of times though. It's so much harder to get work done with this little camera in the way right now, but I always try my best. Thanks. Come on, Logitech, great. You're doing great. You're doing terrible. I hate you. There we go. All right, let's see if I can pull this off. This is like this camera is just so in the way right now, but let's see. I'm gonna do the middle one first. Sometimes I'll do the middle one first. Switch it up for a change. You want to try to hang the silicone off the edge of the PDB. First one you can almost always do by hand. The next two you almost always need to use tweezers for. Just because, like, with these things, everything is so goddamn close together. And you really want to get everything in just the right position before you come in with the tip of the soldering iron. Okay. All right, this is being a pain in the ass. This wire that I'm working with right now is a little bit longer, and so that's causing the stator base to want to turn. But what you saw me just do is how you fight against that. You just kind of, I'm gonna have to do it again. So like you just take the wire, you grab up here by the tip of the wire, and then you just push backwards like this to put this little angle on the wire. And so now when you try to pull it up on the pad, it won't turn the stator base. Man, is that hard to kind of put into words, but try that. Next time you're doing this, if the stator keeps trying to spin, yeah, that's how you fix it. Give it a shot. You'll see what I mean. Okay. Yeah, see like that. See there. It's like when I try to get the wire into position, the base of the stator spins. Oh, it's so fucking annoying sometimes when it does this. I guess though, I was talking about this on Friday actually. I guess I can like pull a piece of this shit up and like wrap it around like that, and I bet you that'll now hold. Yeah, it sure will. But now it's even harder for me to get in here and show you guys at the same time. There we go though. Got it. Yeah, that's the stuff. Now we're good. So now I can get the wire perfectly placed, and away we go. I don't have quite enough solder on there, so I'm just going to touch my little solder stands to the tip of the soldering iron, pick a little bit of extra solder up on the tip of the iron, and just drop it down here, and then remove it. And there we go. Now we have enough solder. Now I actually have too much solder on that joint. So I'm going to clean the tip of the soldering iron. Now that the wires are in the right place, I'm going to grab all 3 wires like this. And then I'm just going to touch this solder joint, and it's just going to pull some of the solder off of here. Solder always goes towards the heat, and the tip of the iron is hotter than the pad right now. So I'm going to clean it again because I want to remove a little bit more. And clean it one more time because I want to remove a little bit more. And there we go. Now it's perfect. Cool. I don't love having to rework it 3 times like that, but I'm being nice and quick. And it's just a PDB. There's no chips on board. You know, the only risk is lifting the pad, and it's actually a through hole, this pad, and through holes are extremely strong. Very hard to lift through hole pads. It's one of the reasons I like them so much, and I will always use a through hole. That's what she said. So yeah, we got that, and now we're just gonna take the little piece of shrimp wrap, push it down as far as we can to get it over the PDB. Here's what that looks like. So yeah, you want to push it down enough to get it over the PDB like that, and then shrink it up. If you can't get it down this far, it's worthless. You have to be able to get it down over the PDB in order for it to have any strength. Make sense? Questions? All right. And now this will not happen again with this motor. Like, this motor will be good to go. Probably kind of forever or whatever. For the really small stuff like this, I like using a just a little lighter. It's just simple. Everybody's got one. It's easy. Get to play with fire. All good things. And that's it. Cool. And give it a second to chill out. Make sure that it's still up over the PDB. Sometimes when they shrink, they'll try to come off the PDB. And this one actually did. This one tried to come down off the PDB. So I'm going to try to use my fingernail to push it back up on there. I mean, it's kind of it's just on there enough. Yeah, it should be fine. I wish I'd caught that before it shrunk all the way up. Oh, there we go. There we go. I was able to push it down. I just used my fingernails, and I was able to push it down over the PDB just enough. Extra. So now it's fully seated on there. And then the last thing you want to check is that the shrink wrap is not touching the motor bell. So you can just kind of spin the motor bell to make sure that it spins freely. But yeah, you're adding a little bit of thickness with the shrimp wrap. So make sure it's not all of a sudden rubbing on the motor bell, and you'll be totally fine. So now 2 out of the 4 motors on this rig have had that shrimp wrap fix done. So yeah, that's a good thing. And they're both of the front motors, which are the ones that you replace the props on the most often. And yeah, so maybe I won't break the wires off of any of the rest of these motors since they're just on the rear now. The scary ones. Northern Tier says, do you have a smaller tip that you use for motors, and what temp works best? I do not. No, I use the standard soldering iron tip that comes with Weller and probably Hacko soldering irons. I have tried all different soldering iron tips. Smaller soldering iron tips do not carry as much heat, which I don't like. Bigger soldering iron tips are just too big. Like you end up like bridging pads a lot because it's just too big of a the tip is too big, my friends. The tip is too big. It's a problem that I've had all my life. So yeah, the dead stock tip is the one that I like best. And like I remember when I was first learning, when my dad was first teaching me to solder, My dad was an electrical engineer for a million years. Was trained by NASA. Like, yeah, he's a ninja. I remember him say, like, I remember talking to him about all the different tips. He's like, nah, man, just the regular old soldering iron tip is the one that I've always used. It's just like the perfect mix. It's a flat. It's flat like this, but it's also kind of rounded on the sides, and it's just, yeah, it's the one, yo. It's got just enough flatness where you can, where if you're doing like a big fat pad, you can make sure that you use the. So it's flatter. It's probably something like this. It's probably something like this, where it's wider than it is tall. So if you're on a big pad, you can put it down with the full width. If you're on a tiny little pad, you can turn it 90 degrees and drop it on there like that. So you can just twist your wrist and adjust how big the damn thing is, which is a huge advantage over the round soldering iron tips. And yeah, it just works, man. It's just a tip that works. My soldering station is a Weller 1010. There's a Hako that's a lot less money, but I grew up with this noise. That is the noise of the Weller. My dad had a Weller soldering iron, and so this little holder here is, yeah, it's what makes that noise when you do that. And so there's this like incredible nostalgia to me with that noise from growing up when my father would repair shit in the basement. Some of those repairs were my favorite thing that he would work on. Actually, the only thing that I really had any interest in. I didn't really get into electrical. I had no interest in electrical engineering until I found FPV 8-ish years ago, which is such a shame because I grew up with somebody that could have put me on a really cool electrical engineering path and given me a huge head start. But I don't know. As a kid, I just didn't have it in me for whatever reason. I forget what I was going to say. Great. Way to go, donkey. Cool. So we are good to go here. This thing will probably have a little bit more power. But this is, I am trying to keep the testing as fair as possible between the Meteor 65 Air frame and the Cockroach V3 frame. So while I'm at the bench, I'm going to turn the soldering iron off, and I'm going to switch the canopies so that for every battery I put through this build, I can put a battery through this build. These are pretty much identical builds. Meteor 65 Air, Cockroach V3. So, yeah, let's make this fix real quick. This is just going to be swapping canopies, so this will be lightning fast. All right. And actually, I just noticed that this canopy that I'm removing right now is the older style Mobula 6 3-screw canopy. This rig here has the newer style clear canopy with the 4 attachment points. This canopy that I'm about to swap over is one of the newer style ones as well with the 4 connection points. So this is actually kind of cool because this makes these two rigs even more similar. There's like it's a nothing weight difference between these two canopies, but still, there's the potential that having this front connection point actually makes the frame stiffer. So I love that this guy here is getting the 4 mount point Mobula 6 canopy. All right. Them's the screws removed. Now we just need to pop the AIO up off the frame to be able to get the camera unplugged in both cases, and then we can make the little swapperoo. So here's this one, and I'm just going to leave this thing kind of apart because I don't have a camera to replace in it. I don't have a replacement camera for it, is what I meant to say. What are those words that just came out of my mouth? That was brutal. Okay, don't want to lose that grommet. Let's just gently push that back down. All right, so this is the rig on the prototype 0603 30,000s. That's just going to go in a bag for when I get the replacement Runcam Nano. This is the Ultimate Freestyle Tiny Whoop with the broken camera. So we'll take this off, and then we'll add this. And in no time, we will be right back up in the air with both of these rigs. Well, I wouldn't call that no time. That took 37 minutes. But it took so long because I was walking you guys through stuff and all that goodness. Hopefully somebody got something out of that. It's tough. Like, I don't want to sound like a broken record. Like, those of you that are here a lot, like, I hate to feel like you're hearing me go over these basic things for the 7,000th time. But it's kind of important to do that because at any moment, somebody brand new that was looking for the exact piece of info that I just gave could be in here. So, yeah. Sorry to the OGs for covering a lot of the same stuff over and over and over again, but I'm going to keep doing that because new folks need help with soldering. I certainly did. And there's a lot of little tips and tricks that can drastically improve your soldering and your ability to build. And I want that for as many people as possible. I know you guys probably understand that, but yeah, maybe there's somebody that doesn't. And it was all pissy just now. And now they're like, oh, all right, I get it. We're friends again. Yeah. This guy. Hold on. Put this in here. I just don't want to lose any of these screws. Not that I don't have extras, but... okay. And then I'll put this screw up in the front here. All right, good deal. So, where's the front of this quad? It's to the right. All right, we get that there, and we're going to get this True RC Singularity tucked up in this Mobula 6 canopy. One of my favorite things about this Mobula 6 canopy is that somehow this True RC Singularity ultra short antenna fits perfectly in here. Like, it feels like they did this on purpose. I'm certain, I am fucking certain that they did not. But I ain't gonna complain. I did have to have a little bit of a back and forth with Hugo from True RC ages ago to get the exact right cable length on this. Like, it had to be correct to the millimeter for this True RC Singularity to fit in here. So yeah, because the original ultra short antenna was not long enough, and then the original short antenna was a little bit too long. So I had to have a little bit of back and forth with Hugo, and he custom made me a couple of these, but then all of a sudden he changed the length of all of his ultra shorts because I guess he realized that this is the use. I mean, like, there aren't many situations where you need to do that. So I guess he was like, well, you know, a bunch of people I'm sure are going to buy these. Nobody has asked me to change the length of the ultra short yet. Might as well change it for a specific situation. And then, you know, most rigs won't care if your antenna is wire is 1 millimeter too long or 2 millimeters too long, right? So you might as well, like, make it for the crazy specific situation, and then until people complain, oh, you know, you're good to go. All set. Both of these rigs are back up. Let's start bouncing them off the walls. I'm not going to fly upstairs because the doggo's running around, and I have a feeling that he's going to eat one of these quads sooner than later. But, yeah, we can smash pretty hard in the basement here. What did I do that for? That's weird. Riot9 says, CiottiFPV has a huge tip, or so I hear. Roboxison says, como estas, bitches? Ramdanko says, don't lie about soldering. Ramdanko says, Weller, womp, tell me more. Ramdanko says, did he shit on the floor? Gert Jan's in the house. Rob Axelson says, recently saw a video teaching Bardwell how to solder. Really? Who put that video up? Hold on, I gotta know. Teaching Bardwell to solder. It's from a year ago. Interesting. It's from Borgonian Evolution. Oh, okay. This is the answer to the Joshua Bardwell challenge. Oh, okay. So I guess Joshua put a soldering challenge up. Ah! Look, and Joshua even commented. I love it. Thanks for the demonstration. I replied over my channel, but the gist is, if you heat the pad by transferring heat through the wire, you're overheating the wire. The correct technique is to apply heat directly to both the pad and the wire so that they heat evenly. If you have the room, yes. A lot of times our pads are too small to do that, though, unfortunately. And finish the joint as quickly as possible. Overheating the PCB is bad, sure, but using your technique, I think most beginners will end up with a cold joint because they don't understand the PCB needs to get hot enough to take the solder. The way I teach it, to heat the pad primarily is intended to solve that problem. Very cool. Very, very cool. There's probably a great soldering discussion in here. So I'm going to drop this link into the chat. There you guys go. That's probably a good one if you want to learn more about soldering. Simon says, hearing stuff over and over means we know we're in the right place, a good place. Love it, man. Repetition is everything. Denzel the Terrible says, your dad should have made that video about teaching Bardwell to solder. You know, the most recent time that my dad was here, and I actually had him on the live stream, he said something super interesting. Oh, I forgot to do mailbag. That's from Mighty Car Mods. You should be subscribed. They're the best channel on YouTube. My dad said, so previous to him saying this, my thought process was, you're the ultra super ninja. You taught me a bunch of stuff. My dad taught me the right way to do things, right? So like one of the more drastic things, drastic is not the right word, but NASA teaches you to tin the pad, solder braid, and remove all of the solder that you can from the pad, and then retin the pad. Every time. Every single time you have to do that. And that's what my dad taught me. But he was like, this is how NASA says to do it. I don't commonly do this, but this is the right way to do it. And then I was like, fuck that. There's no way I'm doing that every time. And then I never did it. I've maybe done it like once or twice, but yeah, for the most part, I've never really done that. And there was a bunch of stuff like that. There's a bunch of like best practices, like this is the correct way of doing it, that he showed me that I just wouldn't do, under the thinking of like, well, you know, we're going to slam these things into metal poles and concrete, and we're just going to have to undo a lot of this work. And so my philosophy was like, if the right way to do it is over here, if the worst way to do it is here, I want to be like maybe somewhere in here, right? Where I'm saving some time, and because it doesn't have to be absolutely bulletproof, it doesn't have to last 100 years like a telescope in orbit. Let's do it a little bit better than it needs to be. And the most recent time that my dad was over, he basically said that like, we are all like, FPV didn't exist before, so there isn't really a right way to solder to these things. We are figuring that out. And like when he said that, I was like, fucking A. It was just really cool. It was just really cool to hear that. And it's kind of just changed my perspective. I don't necessarily do anything different, but it's just changed my perspective from like, oh, here I go half-assing it again and saving time. I should just do this the perfect way, to no, like we are all like developing the correct way to do soldering within FPV, right? Like there's not commonly like a perfect way to do something that goes across the entire board. So yeah, that was pretty cool. But there's another little rant on soldering. Mailbag, motherfuckers. We've got a package from Mick Mucus. Thank you, brother. Double Deuce Audio Rarities. Is that like your side gig, Mick? What's Double Deuce? I feel like I've heard Double Deuce before. Was that your FPV name previously? Oh, now that's fucking cool. What? Oh, that's awesome. Let's see if I can get it to reflect. There it is. Look at that. A little pooch. A cool looking little pouch too. What's in here? Candy, yo. Oh, sick. Candy and a couple of little bracelets. Look at this. Awesome. What am I going to use this for? I'm going to find a use for this. This is a nice little pouch. Dude, thank you. How is that on there? What's the process of this? It's like melted in? And it's a small thing. How did this happen? This is super cool. What's the process of getting this on here? There it is. Double Deuce Audio Rarities. Dude, that's awesome. I wonder if this will fit. I don't think it's quite big enough, but I'm gonna try to fit my my little on-the-go audio recorder. Fuck it, it's right here. Let's see. Let's see if it'll fit. My little Tascam might fit in here. Let's see. I think it's ever so slightly too big though. This is like this Tascam was actually gifted to me by Joshua. Speaking of Bardwell. He was like, dude, you got to start recording yourself when you're out flying. I was like, yeah, but those little Tascams are expensive. And like a week later, there was an Amazon box. And I was like, oh, dude. All right, so let's see. Oh, man, I have the wires all wrapped up weirdly. Ah! Nah, I mean, I could probably force it in there, but I don't want the... Nah, it doesn't... Well, let's say I don't want to wreck the wires. Oh, it's so close. I might actually be able to get it to work. I might actually... That would be awesome, because I would love to, like, bring this thing everywhere with me. I might... If I unwind... I have the wires, like, all tucked up under the belt clip part. If I get them out of there, I might actually be able to get this in here. Dude, very cool. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. What are these candies? Caramellos, tatas. I would eat one right now, but since it's a hard candy, I would be like... for the next 45 minutes. So I'm not going to do that to everyone. But dude, thank you. Very cool. Very, very cool. You guys are the best. You guys are the best, man. Double Deuce. Tell us more about Double Deuce. Double Deuce. FPV Greybush in the house. Oh yeah, you know what? I also have the dead cat in here. This bag is gonna have to be the Tascam bag. I will find something cool for this though. Little bags like this are always awesome. There's always like a perfect use for small bags. You just gotta find it. You just gotta look around. These little guys. This is ripstop nylon. These are from Countycom. COUNTYCOM. Very cool website with some very cool stuff. Dude, thank you. Double Deuce Audio Rarities. What else you got? What else you got under that Double Deuce name? Oh, dude, I'm going to find something perfect for this. It's really nice. It's got a nice, like, little, like, nylon lining on the inside. Nice little bag. All right, put that right there so I look at it all the time and find the perfect thing for it. This is a box from BetaFPV, yo. I have a feeling I know what that means. Save those till last. Ah, yeah. So Weebleed now has little tins of Band-Aids, which for me is extra cool because anxiety disorder, for whatever reason, causes me to just attack the shit out of my fingernails and my fingertips. And so I'm always, that's why I very commonly have Band-Aids on my fingers. And at the moment, my thumb is all shredded to shit. I had a Band-Aid on there last night, but then I took it off to shower today. And so I've got a Band-Aid. Look at me go. It's the little things, you know? It's the little things in life. Yeah! Fucking Weebleed Band-Aid, yo. Nobody needs these more than me. Ah! Fuck yeah. I have tiny whoops on my Band-Aid. What world is this that we're living in? That's awesome. Alright, cool. Oh, he said a bunch of them. There's a third one, too. I think these are going to be for giveaways. I'm going to put these in the giveaway pile. Is this Monday giveaway? Yeah. 30 days has September, April, June. Nope. Next Monday, a week from tomorrow, will be giveaways. A couple of Whooptopia cards. Throw those in with the give. Oh, nice. So this is this is an extension cord for the lit up whoop gates. There's Zotek sent me so I've got the cube that you guys have seen a million times, but then there's also a regular gate, and these are gonna allow me to plug those two into each other, and they will do the same pattern, which will be really cool. This is awesome. I'm gonna throw this over towards where it needs to be, and then this is just gonna be an extra. I wonder if this is long enough to go in the wall and then up and down the ceiling tiles. I'm going to throw this other one over there as well, because I would love to do that. Otherwise, there's going to be a wire hanging through the middle of the room, which is not the end of the world, but that's the way I had it before. The main reason that Zotek sent me this package, though, is right here. This is version 0.2 of the Weebleed FPV crown frame, and this is now in a different plastic. So this is pretty cool. This is going to be the third contender for lightweight tiny whoop frames, which is awesome. And it looks like, yep, 2 different materials. So Zotek is experimenting with materials. The mold is done. So the supports and all of this stuff is going to stay the same, but you can inject anything into the mold. So yeah, we are at the they are at the part of the oh, this one is super spongy. They're at the part of the prototyping phase where you try different plastics to see which one works the best. So this is pretty cool. So two different plastics here. We will give each one of these a shot and see if the crown frame can stand up to the Meteor 65 Air and the Cockroach V3. So far, the first run, prototype version 1 of the crown frame, it was the plastic was a little bit too brittle. So the combination of that brittle plastic and the design of this frame, they were not a good match for one another, and they cracked pretty quickly. I fly pretty hard, I crash pretty hard, so if anybody's gonna break them, it's gonna be me. But yeah, it was a little bit premature that they broke. Zotek got that feedback and yeah, jumped right on it, and now we've got a couple different plastics that we can try, which is just awesome. So dude, thank you, Zotek. Very, very cool for sending those. We'll keep the prototype testing going and the other fun stuff as well. Mailbag is good to go. Ramdago says, are we the gangles finding less blade hover at a lower rate? What? I am, but I don't do much, so I ask. Finding less blades hover at a lower rate. I wouldn't say that. Your hover, well, I would think it's the opposite. With less blades, you need more RPM. And more RPM is going to be higher in the throttle throw. But it depends, because it depends on how good the motor to prop combination that you've got on that quad is. If you've got a quad with like 0702s, and then you've got like a quad blade on them, all bets are off, because that is a bad motor and prop combination. That is a overpropped situation, and that could cause your throttle point to be higher, even though it shouldn't be, because you're having to send more power to the motor for it to make the same thrust. Whereas with these biblades, it's not like that. So yeah. Hey, the CiottiFPV Discord server apparently is about to lose a level. I think there's a boost thing that needs to happen, and some people have free boosts sometimes, so I don't know. If you have a free Discord boost, if you can do it on the CiottiFPV channel, we can still have our awesome CMYK designed logo on there. I think it's just that logo. I don't think there's any other advantages, but I don't know Discord all that well. So yeah, if you have a Discord boost, gimme. Riot9 says, if we lose boost, we can't upload larger files. I don't typically upload larger files. I don't see other people uploading large files, but that is a real thing. So yeah, if you have a boost, do it, please. Thank you. Mick Bucas says, written with a... Fuck off. No way. No way. There's no way you wrote that with a soldering iron. That's printed from a... That's printed by a computer. There's no way, dude. You're a liar. You're lying to us all. McMucus expects us to believe that he hand wrote that with a soldering iron. What? How? I mean, I don't know how the hell you would put this thing through a machine with how small and thick it is. So, okay. That is absurd. If that's true, which I'm sure it is, that is outrageous. Dude, that is awesome. Double Deuces is record label. I didn't know that. That's awesome, man. Love it. Whoopster says, are you going to do Infinity Loops Whoop University? I don't know what that is. What is that, Whoopster? Denzel the Terrible says, great soldering discussion. You're going to get my panties in a knot. You sure know how to romance me. Denzel the Terrible. We got that. All right, cool. So I think we're caught up on chat. All right, good deal. LaBeast, make sure that you type CiottiFPV. If you just type Ciotti, it won't highlight it for me. But if you type, oh you fucker, go away, go away. There we go. If you type CiottiFPV, you don't have to put the @ See, there's no @ here down. But yeah, just always make sure you type CiottiFPV so that it lights up in orange. Labatt says, why don't you try to make a sub 17 gram whoop? Because that would have to sacrifice durability, and I crash almost constantly, as you'll see in a minute. What motor is it? I assume that I was working on this one. These are the tinywhoop.com 0702 32,000 kV motors. McMucus, I'm astounded that you wrote this freehand with a soldering iron. That's wild. That is absolutely wild. All right. Caught up on chat. Simon says, was waiting for you to see Mick's comment. F off. That's excellent handwork for sure. Gertjan says, what is a good whoop to have extra? What will it cost and where to get? I would just follow my ultimate freestyle tiny whoop build on Joshua's channel, fpvknowitall.com. Athix says, Whoop U is a channel member iGow thing where you can win some custom pogs for the challenges. Probably not. I don't I just typically don't enter competitions. Like I do the only competition that I've really entered and kind of really have any interest entering, to be honest, is the Rampage micro competitions. Mainly because not many people enter them. Like Stacy will usually message me like a week or two before Rampage and be like, hey, any chance you can put a submission into the micros category? Like we don't really have many submissions. And then I'll like whip up an edit real quick and throw it in there. But yeah, I just don't. I got like all of the competitiveness out of my system with motorsports and just sports growing up. And yeah, I'm not really into the competition side of things. I also, like, I'm into cinematic FPV mainly, not really freestyle FPV. Like, yes, I fly these things around freestyle, but it's freestyle with me. It's not freestyle for the sake of freestyle. It's freestyle trying to make the camera moves look really cool, if that makes any sense. Rather than, like, look at how difficult of a trick that I can do. So yeah, it's just kind of not my thing. If it's your thing, I love that. I wish it was my thing because I always feel like I'm missing out. But you know, we all got to do us. Okay, we good to go. Athix says lots of practice. I don't know what that's in reference to. McMucus says I didn't do it. I didn't do it. Oh, somebody in the park did it. Okay. Oh, and you guys are talking about the stencil. Okay, that makes sense. Got it. All right, we good. Here we go. It's already 5 o'clock. Although I was supposed to have family stuff at 5 today, but Maggie forgot that we were gonna do it after my live stream, and she took the kids to the pumpkin place this morning. So I think I'm actually totally fine to. I mean, I'm always fine to stream for a little bit longer, but in this case, I am not. Yeah, missing out on family stuff that I know of. I might check in with her in a minute, though. But let's put a battery or two up in the air first. This is the Meteor 65 air-framed rig on the Weebleed FPV 0702 32,500 kV motors. Ah! That was kind of cool. I rearmed it when it was like nose down a little bit. And it's... God damn. These quads fly so good. Oh! Wait a second. I don't have the Weebleed cube set up at the moment. It's right here. This is the Weebleed cube. At the end of this battery... Oh! At the end of this battery, I'm going to set this cube up, and then I'm going to run this little extension cord here to the other lit up Weebleed gate, which is back there, which I'm going to put right up here in place of this tiny whoop gate. And we will have matching LED lights on those two gates, which will be really, really cool. So this is, again, the Meteor 65 Air build. And the whole point of what I'm doing here is just basically durability testing. So I'm just going to fly hard and try to get it to explode. Right now what I'm trying to do is get it... Yeah, there we go. Never give up, friends. Never! Missed it. Yeah, when I'm doing the durability testing stuff, I'm just basically trying to fly as hard as I can and just do the biggest, dumbest tricks possible. Because that's what generates all these crashes, to put energy into the frame. You know, most manufacturers, when they're doing durability testing, will just, like, throw stuff at a brick wall. And, like, yeah, that's gonna tell you some stuff, but that is not, like, I've always felt like the way that we crash is pretty unique. Like, the way that these things fly nose down more often than not, they end up hitting in a really interesting way. So yeah, I think this is a much more accurate way. This is obviously a much more accurate way of doing durability testing, right? Like, it can only possibly be. Oh, I can't believe I just did it twice in a row. That's the impossible power loop. I can usually not do that once. Yeah, this is obviously like a better way of getting crash test info. But, you know, this takes time. This takes a lot of extra time and effort to do it this way. All right, let me go set up the really cool Weebly cubes. Hang on one second. Not to be confused with the really cool Weebly pubes. Oh, gross. What's wrong with you? Jerk. All right, here we go. So, plug it in the cube. And now I'm going to take down the tiny whoop gate. And I'm going to put up the big, beautiful LED lit Weebly gate. And where's the top? Here's the top. Okay. So, oh God, excuse me. I just burped. It tasted like straight chicken ass. I could put this here. Should I put it closer? Yeah, I'll try to move it. I'll try a different spot for this. This might be cool. Hold on. Just gotta push the ceiling tiles up. Try to hang this in a way that is as sturdy as possible. So we're gonna run this up into the ceiling tile here. And, oh fuck! Now the ceiling tile's not gonna drop down, is it? Hey, it did. Look at that. Okay, so there's one. Here comes the other. Come on, get in there. Get up in there. Come on. Oh God, please. Go, go, go. All right, come on down. Come on, please. Yeah. Amazing. Okay, so then this cable has to go over there. So we've got. If I run this way. Well, let's just do this. I can run it up and over. How can I do this? Run this up and over. All right, so if I pop this ceiling tile, I'll do this later. For right now, I will just let the cable hang down and just kind of like jankily plug it in. Because you guys aren't seeing anything that I'm doing. Well, I should have just turned the little bench cam on. Yeah, whatever. Okay, so I'm just going to let this hang down, and I'm going to plug this guy in, and you will all get to enjoy the magic of more LEDs. Ah, what happened? Oh, boy. Hold on. Oh, it's a tangled mess. I've made a mess. Now we're good. Okay. Plug this guy in here. And plug this guy in over here. Ugh. Hey! There it is. Alright, cool. Both are on. That looks fantastic. All right, cool. Wait till you get a load of this. All right, so that was the Meteor 65 Air frame. Right9 says shout out to SafeZoneFPV for boosting the Discord. Thank you, SafeZoneFPV. Very cool of you. Got them boosts, bro. I don't know, Discord things. Let's go to the Cockroach V3 build. See if I can tell any differences. Although this is a different color marker on this battery. So this is a battery that's either newer or older. I've lost track of what color I bought when. So the difference could be down to the battery. But let's see. I don't even know if this is going to work. I might have soldered the... I soldered the wires on differently. Fucker. And now this one motor is spinning in a different direction than the rest. Damn you! Unreal. Okay, hold on. Hold on, I gotta get it into Betaflight and get this motor spinning the right direction. What a kick in the balls. All right. Oh yeah, I see what I did. Yeah, so this motor is soldered up completely opposite the way that it was before. Okay, Betaflight, help me. Help me. Okay. Motors. Motor direction. I understand the risks. Wizard, start and spin. Wow, okay. That hasn't happened in a while. So, there's some weird bug with Betaflight every once in a while that when you do that, it will make the motors go full. And that shit's scary. Because if that was anything other than a tiny whoop, that would have been a really shitty little motor wizard. Oh wow, look at it. It's all jangled. It's all jingle jangled. Motor direction, understand the risks, wizard. This is why this is important. Remove all propellers to prevent injury. Unless it's a tiny whoop. There we go. Now it's all better. Motor number 1 is correct. Motor number 2 is correct. 3 is incorrect. 4 is incorrect. Every time you go into the wizard, it spins the motors the default direction. It does not remember that you've changed it. So, yeah, every time you do that, you have to check each motor. Correct, 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 and correct. We good. Stop motors, and let me check what gyros on this. What? Jesus, that's taking forever. Oh my god, hurry up and build the autocomplete cache, yo. What are you doing? What? In what world does it take this long to do that? F you. Come on. Oh man, Betaflight is having a hard time today. There we go. MPU 6000. Cool. All right. So here we go. Motor's now spinning the right direction. Cockroach V3 65mm frame testing continues. Here we go. Fa-fa-fa-fa-fa-fupa. That's all I have to say about that. Here we go. Too much up tilt. Maybe? Maybe? Too much up tilt? Maybe not? Oh, God. Hit the button on my fucking goggles. Goggles. Goggly googles. Hold on. Might be able to get a little bit less. Oh, man, I hear Teddy running around upstairs. I hear those little footstep pats. When I get this replacement Runcam Nano 3, I'm going to beef up the connection between the lens and the board. So there it is. That's what I just did. There's now a wire running down here and hooking up to this so that they both do the same. I mean, I only have one power supply, but I would rather do this. I would rather have them doing the same pattern. You know what I mean? Okay, leave me alone. I want to do Matty flips. Do you mind? Do you mind? Ugh. Oh, eat it! Second try. So what I think I'm going to do is run this, now that I have these two extensions, run it up, run it up, and and over, and then drop it down, and then I have the power supply for this thing right in here. Right in here. It's hidden back behind there. So then I can bring the other cable out here and then hook it up to the thing. To the cube. Oh! Oh no! Oh no! How you like me now, motherfuckers? Ooh, that was in there. One thing that I'm going to start trying to pay attention to is how this thing bumps into stuff. So this frame has the lower ducts. So when I bump into things, so see how when I bumped into the door there, it did a full roll? That was because it stalled the motor out. This Newbie Drone Cockroach frame should handle little bumps like that better. Like that? See how it bounced off? The motor did not stall. I guess I can just do it face forward. See that? That I probably can't do with the Meteor 65 airframe. Because of where the ducts sit. Oh god, 3.3. Let's actually try it right now. Let's try those exact same bumps into the exact same spot with the other one. Ramdongo says, my 65X Crafts goes right a bit after a few throttle, trying to find a black box file, but probably a loose connection. Oh, that's a tough one. Because the PID loop should take care of that. So unless you've got unless it's running out of power to be able to correct that, there really should not be a situation where that happens. So this is now the Beta 65 airframe. What's probably going to happen is when we make those little bumps, the propeller is going to hit the standoffs rather than the ducts, and it's probably going to stop the prop and fall to the ground. But let's find out. Not a good sign. But let's try again. See that? I can't. There you go. There you go, friends. See that? Tiny little bump, and it stalls the motor out, and it falls to the ground. That right there is a big deal, because it took that one. It kind of fought through that one. That's just air mode pulling it into the wall. Try it again. See? Nope. There it is. That's the problem with having the duct too high rather than too low. What? What? Oh, it's in between. How did it get in between them? I don't think I can get out of there. Yeah, I can. I can get out of anywhere. Oh no, I flew it back in. Oh boy. Yeah! Yeah, that is the problem with the duct height being sort of wrong. So, basically what that ends up being is that the Meteor frames with 0702 motors, if you ran like a 3mm high motor, like a 603, the situation would be better because the prop would be higher from the stator being taller. But there really aren't any popular 603s other than these prototypes that I've got. Not popular is not the right word. Properly performing. That being said, for me, most crashes are harder, and they're gonna block. They're going to block the. Will stall out the motor and propeller anyway. So I don't know. It's It's a thing for sure, though. Just there, that was crash prevention just going ballistic. Crash prevention does not help. What's up, Don King? Crash prevention does not help or hurt this situation. This is a mechanical thing. Shit. Lay it out, my friends. Lay that shit out when you've got a nice, powerful, lightweight rig. Ah! That was partially on purpose. Oh! Like I said, we can still get some good crash data down in the basement. Ah! A little too late. Put the throttle on a little too late, and the battery's shot. Alright, so that's the Meteor 65 airframe not crashing nearly as good. Anybody need... Does everybody understand that? Does everybody understand the duct height thing? I know we talked about it, and I showed it really in super detail on Friday. If anybody needs me to show that, let me know in the chat. Please tag me, because I will give you a little illustration of it. It's just the height of the duct. On the Cockroach frame, they lowered the duct part so the propeller scrapes on it during crashes. On the Meteor frames, the little duct part is too high. That's what we're talking about here. Back to the Cockroach 65 frame. I usually will like session one and then switch to the other. But right now we're just in a phase of beat the hell out of it. So going back and forth one to the next like this is going to work best for that. Because again, I want to make sure I put an equal amount of abuse into each one of these. Oh my god. Fresh batteries are chaos. Oh, yeah! Give me those fresh battery crashes, yo. Oh, boy. I can hear that this thing... There's me hitting that wire. What the fuck is happening? Thank you! Why is that the ringtone? Thank you. CMYK, that's CMYK calling me on Discord to let me know that I was Stevie Wondering it. Yeah, so that's the deal. You guys just audio call me if I'm Stevie Wondering like that. Just audio call me on Discord. All hell will break loose, and I'll know what it means. Thanks, dude. God, that works well. Man, it just like barely slapped the ceiling there. That was kind of funny. Man, that came really close to my head. Ah! Oh, that ain't coming out. That's under the pad of my bag, maybe? Is that where it is? No, where is it? Where are you, little guy? What? Oh! There it is. Oh! Oh! Man, what a weird ringtone that Discord has. It did not do that. And the other thing that happened is it played that ringtone through the computer and my phone and my laptop. No. Come on now. Come on now. Oh no, not again! Oh my god. Oh, I think a propeller just came off. Yep. Ah! Hold on. Look at that beautiful Weebly FPV LED lit gate. Oh no, propeller didn't come off. Please don't be another dead motor situation. Please no. Please no. Alright, what's happening? Who's upset with the world? It's fine. It's fine. It's completely fine. Just don't crash. There it is. Here we go. Ah! Oh, right face first into the metal stand of death. Oh! Easy, fella. Easy there, fella. No, no, no. Get me out of here. What a fucking nightmare. Yeah! Oh, fuck. Oh, now it's not working right again. Ah! Oh, God! When I put the nose down here, it's like I'm just holding on for dear life. There's no, like, pre-planning. It's just like, oh, God, oh, God, oh, God, oh, God. Uh-oh! Wow, no! Oh, it hit me, it hit me, it hit me. He hit me! Stop it. Oh, no. Oh, boy, I almost hit myself again. Oh, God! How did it land on the coffee table? Oh, yeah. Mega power up! We got it! Let's get it again. Oh, no! Didn't get it that time. Oh, boy. What did I tell you about abuse, man? Plenty of abuse down here. Oh, God, it hit, like, a ton of bricks. Up! Yeah. Oh, boy, that battery is gonna just die for life. Sorry, little guy. Sorry, sorry, sorry. Here we go. Get it unplugged. Maybe it's not ruined forever. I'm sure it is, though. Okay. We're good. Woo! All right. And so that was the Cockroach rig. Can you guys hear these rigs getting noisier as this testing continues? I can. The motors get more rattly. The props start hitting the frame more. It's kind of interesting. I don't remember it happening. I don't remember the OG Meteor 65 frame being like that. I don't remember it, like, over the course of 4, 5, 6 batteries like this, changing that much. Like, eventually it would change. Oh! But, you know, and I mean, it makes sense, right? These are lighter frames, so they're going to be less durable. Oh my God! Oh! Get in there! Oh! Denied. Oh! You get, like, it's such a struggle to get it into that cube that by the time it gets there, I don't have enough space to get it out. Oh, I love it. God, I fucking love throwing this thing across the room inverted. Oh, you jackass, you. Jackass! There it is. Farts! Okay, that ain't the one. He ain't gonna be in rush hour 2. Oh! Alright, let's get it one more time. Come on. Oh, I don't think I really got it clean yet. Oh, you bastard. What? No. Don't. Yeah, there we go. That's what I want. There it is. Got it off of there. This gets harder and harder as the battery voltage drops. also gets harder as I continue to not fly all that well. I don't even know if we have the voltage to do it at this point. Full throttle! That'll fix it! Blindly going full throttle fixes everything. Oh god! Okay. Lots of abuse, man. Plenty. That was the Meteor 65 air build. Last battery of the stream is going to go to the Cockroach 65 V3 newbie drone frame, which I think that this is my personal favorite of these lightweight frames right now. The Meteor 65 Air is, oh, that was a hard one, is a little too wobbly, I think. That went through. That did too. Man, you can't even see it when it goes through there. Ah! No! And the propellers hit the propellers don't really rub on the ducts. The duct is too high on the Meteor frame. Both the old school, that's been a problem with the old school Meteor frame. Oh man, I got some jello going on all of a sudden. See it there? There's a certain throttle, yep. There's a certain throttle amount that's getting all jello-y. Oh, that was just luck. I expected the first gap, but I forgot about the, I just didn't think it would line up with that second gap. That was 100% luck right there. Come on, man. What was that gap? It was through here, huh? Through here? Oh, that's a cool little gap there. Oh! Oh, just missed it. Caught the wire, though. Oh, that was a terrible Matty flip. Yikes. Oh, God. On Earth. Oh, my God. What the fuck is happening right now? Here we go. Going for the big one. Oh, my goodness. Oh, man. If it had traveled, like, 2 inches farther, it would have been in there. And I blipped the throttle nice and early. It would have come out. That would have been great. Let's try it again. Stop that. Here we go. There it was. And I fucking biffed it. Oh, battery's getting low. I'm flying like a donkey. Good, good, good. Let's just do that. That'll work. That's how we do it. Oh, there it was. Although I don't think I went through those gates up on top. Oh, I did that time. Ooh, that hit hard. Oh, boy. When you get stuck under something like this is how you can try to, like, tilt it out a little bit. There you go. Eats up the battery, but better than taking a walk. Let's see if I can land it on my shoulder like a fucking parrot. I did that the one day. It was so absolutely amazing. All right, yo. There's our 6 batteries for the evening. Face is hot. I'm gonna go hang out with my amazing family and just, you know, Have an awesome Sunday. You should too. Have a beautiful rest of your Sunday. My name's Aaron Ciotti. Everybody calls me Ciotti, whether I like it or not. I do like it though. Head on over to CiottiFPV.com if you'd like these live streams to continue. I'm completely crowdfunded by you beautiful bastards. And I do rely on you to keep the boat afloat. Let's take a look at these really quick here, just to make sure there's no obvious explosions already. They fly fine, so I'm sure they're okay. No screws seem to be backing out. Everything seems okay. This is the Meteor 65 Air build. And then we've got the Cockroach build here. The motors on the Cockroach build are much, much, much more beat up. So these are not fully identical rigs, but we're not looking like that Jello issue. Like that's with this rig here. That's probably just these motors being whooped. Let me see if I can tell real quick if I've got bent motor shafts going on. Let's see. That motor looks fine, but that's a front motor, a rear motor. The front ones are the ones that get absolutely obliterated. Yeah, motor 4 is a little wobbly. Not that bad, though. Let's check motor 2. Motor 2 is not bad at all. What about motor 1? Motor 1's okay. It's got a little wobble to it. Yeah, these are they're starting to make noises. Which is usually just the prop starting to get dinged up. Man, I'll tell you what though, the propellers on this Cockroach frame are very obviously rubbing on the ducts rather than hitting the supports, because the ends of these propellers are not all chewed to hell. When you run the Meteor frames, the last like 2 or 3 millimeters of your propeller blades just get annihilated by hitting these vertical supports all the time. So yeah, there's a definite difference there. These were fresh props put on at the exact same time. And you can really tell the difference in yeah, like you can just tell that one of them is hitting the supports, one of them is rubbing on the ducts properly. So yeah, crash testing shall continue. I got 6 more batteries I'll do tonight. And yeah, we'll see which one of these frames breaks first. But, I mean, they're both holding up really well. I have a funny feeling that this Cockroach frame is going to hold up better than the Meteor 65 Air. What I'm really looking to do is figure out which 3 of the lightweight frames I like the most, and then I'm going to compare it to the old school Meteor frame. And that's how I'm going to pick which frame that I run. I think you guys should do that same thing, because you're going to crash differently. You're going to have a different build, different weight, different everything. So yeah, get to work, friends. Be good, people. Thank you for dropping the CiottiFPV.com link, CMYK and Bob Noxious. I'll see you guys tomorrow night at 10 o'clock, CiottiFPV.com, or I'll die. You wouldn't want that, would you, on your conscience? Later, people. Here's some more floating around the sky with a Mavic Pro 2. Easy. Easy, big fella. Down tempo. This is perfect. Be good, people. Love you. Bye!